in the darkroom where I teach, we have something called the Fred Flintstone photocopier, also known as golf ball machine. This is a contact printer which lets us put negatives, for example, or paper negative on there with another piece of photographic paper on top, and then you pull on the golf ball and it makes a contact print of it. And it's really useful for doing paper negatives from Pinhole cameras, for doing contact sheets from 35mm medium format black and white film. I remembered that I have this. This is a mini version of the same thing. This is from the 1950s. It's made by Johnson's of Hendon, which was quite a big supplier of photographic equipment from the 1940s to 1970s. And it works in the same way as one I have at work. This bit lifts up, and I have a 6x9cm piece of glass here. It's a big enough medium format where I can put my image with another piece of paper on top. I will then shut this down over the top, and then by lifting this flap, it exposes to the light bulbs inside, and it will create a positive image from the negatives on there. Now, this was designed for use with papers which are known as gaslight papers. As I understand it, I might be wrong, these papers don't have a modern equivalent to them. They were even lower ISO than contemporary black and white paper is. All the instructions in terms of what is your bulb and exposure time that it comes with is completely irrelevant. Also on the inside is a filter for the light, which is of the wrong colour for modern papers as well. Here it is. This is like an amber. My plan is I'm going to try and not restore it because it doesn't need restoration. It's in very good condition. I'm going to try and modernise this, keeping it true to everything about it, and we're going to see if we can get it working successfully with modern papers. So the way it works is there's a hole in the back panel for your light bulb, and the light bulb sits in this bottom area. There's some red filters in the side to work as a darkroom safe light as well. And then when you turn this, it lifts the panel on the inside, hiding that red light and exposing to the white light of the bulb. My plan is to get this working with modern papers. To do this, I'm going to swap the glass inside for red Perspex. Hopefully that will work better with the paper. I need to get a light bulb that will fit this. I'm going to go for LED, and I need to find the lowest wattage I can because I don't want it to be too bright, so I can have some control over my exposure times. And I'm going to probably also change the glass in the sides for red Perspex as well, just to go for better safe light filtration compared to what it is. Let's see how we go. I'm going to order a red piece as well. I'm wondering if this will actually be okay. It is very dark, and I will try it because I know this is a safe colour that is still widely used. So I'll give it a try, but as I'm ordering those side bits as well, I'm going to place an order for this at the same time. Let's see the size of this. This is 3mm, measures 20 times, so get it right. 3, 5, 6, 36 by 44. I can't get a piece of Perspex this size from them directly. It's too small for them to cut, so I'm going to order the smallest I can, which is 5cm square. I'm going to get a spare one, it's only a few pence, and then I can cut it down to size, and if I make a mistake, I have a spare one. Right, this is the lowest watt light bulb I can find that's not too expensive. £5.69 for 2 of them, that'll do. And then to go with it, another E14 lamp. It's got a switch on the side, should probably be useful. That should do the job. So that's all the bits ordered. We'll see how we get on. The plastic came to a bit more than I anticipated because I didn't think about the shipping. It was still quite cheap though. There we go. Everything's now arrived. So I am replacing the glass and red plastic sheets in the sides with some fresh cut red Perspex. Now I might keep these diffusion panels in there as well. That's probably a good idea. So let's put those in. I really hope this works. And the glass I think I will use again for holding some cyanotypes flat when I'm exposing. And next is the bit for the inside. This is the amber glass that was in there, and this is the new piece of Perspex. So it's lighter, but it's a better colour, I think, for modern papers. I'm going to keep holding this just in case I'm wrong. That should be fine. Now, of course, I really hope this will work. Oh, it's too small. That backfired. Maybe not. Maybe I can get that as a nice tight fit with a light bulb in. So we're going to do a MacGyver. That with a bit of tape. Gaffer tape solves everything. Down the Darkroom, and we're going to try out the Johnson's contact printer. Now I'm using some negatives that I made about a year ago, and these are 6 by 12 centimeters. The reason I've chosen these particular images is I don't tend to do 6 by 9, and I wanted something that would fill the entire area. So these are made in Somerset. They were made using a Holger. So they are a little bit on the thin side. That's probably going to cause me some issues, but let's give it a try. Negative that I'm using here. Okay, so first results aren't all that great. They're very flat tonally. Now some of this is potentially the colour of the light and how that's affecting my contrast. Some of it is the thin negatives. Some of it is probably the brightness of the light and it's overexposing the highlights. So we're going to switch to some other negatives. This is going to be one that I made a while back. So this is from an old neg folder that lives down here. So this is probably about 5-6 years ago. Maybe even more actually. I don't know. And it's a bit of street photography at a marathon by the looks of things. So it's got a bit more contrast to it. It's 6 by 7 rather than 6 by 9. And hopefully this will give us better results. Okay, we have the results. They're not great, but they are telling us something. As you can see in this image, there is a gradual shift from light to dark across the frame, and what's happening is the exposure time is more at one side of the image than the other. So this is where you open the flap to let the light through. One side is getting bright straight away, and that side is overexposing. This is particularly noticeable because I'm having to do such short exposure times in here. So I need to find a way of bringing the brightness of the bulb down, and down a lot. So we're going to look at seeing if I can get some form of dimmer circuit, or a variable capacitor to control the brightness and make this more usable. The other way that might work is to put some ND filtration in there in front of that light bulb to basically stop it down 2 or 3 stops. That might work. I wonder if I've got any. Have a look. So we're back in the darkroom. I have my little dimming circuit. We're going to try it out. And hopefully this is going to solve my exposure issues with contact printer. We're going to do about 4 seconds with the dim down light and go from there. 2, 3, 4. This is looking a little bit more even than the other day, but there's still a gradual shift that's visible. So my next idea is I'm going to turn the light on and off manually rather than using a little flap. This is interesting. So this is where I've turned the bulb on to start the exposure rather than opening the flap. I'm still getting that barring. So this is actually a flaw in the design where the hole for the light is very, very small, and therefore I'm getting an area that's getting more exposure than the rest. So I'm going to add some more diffusion in next, but no difference from using the flap or from using the switch. Okay, so that is working with film. What about working with paper negatives? So I have here some negatives that I made when I was testing the Alfie. When I did these on the contact printer at work, you can see the results. So let's see how well this works. With paper. 5 seconds was my exposure time, or 4 seconds really was my exposure time with negatives. With paper, I am anticipating it's going to be a couple of seconds longer, because the paper is thicker than film. So face to face, shut the lid, go, and I'm going for 6 seconds and see how that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is interesting. I did not really expect that, but actually maybe I should. Okay, it's still developing. It could probably be done with an extra second, but it's not too bad. Now, where I did this with a negative, and I'm getting that banding of light, the paper is thick enough to diffuse it and actually give very even results. There's a little bit of that banding, but not too much. That's actually very usable. So working with film is not as good working with a normal film holder for doing contacts. But for working with paper and paper negatives, it actually works very, very well. So here are my final findings. It is nowhere near as good as working with one of the traditional sandwich presses, where you put your paper on top of the sponge, then your negatives, then the glass. That's always going to give much more consistent, even tones than what I can do with this. But at the same time, that's what I would use for doing contact sheets of a whole roll of film. This is a single image that's already 6 by 7 centimeters, 6 by 8, 6 by 9. So it's not really the best tool for that. But if you are doing paper negatives, if you are doing maybe some alternative processes where you're working with, I don't know, maybe this can be applied with some form of wet plate collodion process. That's not really my wheelhouse. So if you do wet plate and you do maybe platinum printing, maybe this is something you can use. Please let me know, I'm really curious. But things like paper negatives, things like BOXX cameras, so the Alfie BOXX, which makes images this size already. Yeah, that's a perfect size to go in here. Yes, you can do the reversal process that they advertise, but if you don't have the ADOX Scala chemistry or whatever other ones are called, this is another way. It does work for that, and it's, yeah, I'm glad I got it working. It was my granddad's, it was part of his darkroom. I'm really quite pleased that I've got it working in my darkroom. It's not going to get packed away, it is going to live in here now. I might make a little shelf for it so it's sort of out of the way as such. Red Perspex that I've swapped in is safe with the modern paper, so I can use it as a safe light in here. All in all, very, very pleased. If you have enjoyed this video or if you found it useful, please don't forget to give it a like, give me a subscribe. I'm going to be doing more darkroom experiments, tutorials, workflow, and there's of course my monthly live stream from in here as well. Thank you very much.